Y'all ready to take some notes? I've been seeing a few of you take notes to my videos, which is awesome, but I really hope you're sticking around for the whole video because I think it hits different. Anyways, in this day and age of excessive consumption and the recent wave of self-care and self-development, I feel like there's a common misconception that self-care starts with a face mask, with a jade roller, but I'm here to remind you that self-care can be and is free because it first starts with, guess what? The self. So today we're going to talk about 5 self-care habits that cost you nothing. 5 free self-care habits that you can implement today. So number 1, saying no. This is something that I feel like the airlines were really onto something when they said in an event of an accident or a crash, when the face mask or the breathing mask come down, please put on your face mask first before helping others. This is the idea that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot pour other people's cup first before serving yourself. Saying no is one of the biggest, most revolutionary acts of self-care. We often say yes to pretty much everything and anyone because we have the fear of missing out. We are people pleasers in some way because we think that by overextending our time and our energy, we might feel better by giving back. But in the end, we're honestly just drained and left to be with ourselves, feeling empty and not having enough energy to put in the efforts and times to taking care of ourselves. Some examples of these could be at work and answering emails when it's totally not necessary to do so, hanging out with people to the point of exhaustion, not knowing your own limits, and a lot of this, when we say yes to everything and everyone, we are actually saying no to ourselves. It is one of the biggest acts of self-betrayal because we are not honoring our own time and our own energy, and when you take care of yourself, you in effect take care of your community already. It is actually in fact an act of self-preservation. Saying no, especially if you're someone who loves to take care of people and loves to help, this is something I really struggle with as well. It can be thought of as building stronger boundaries. Now, building boundaries is something that's both beneficial for you and the party that's having to live within them or respect them, I suppose, because boundary building is the quickest way to helping preserve your relationship with yourself and also with others. Everybody has needs, everybody has desires, and it's important to respect and honor your own before you can even give to others. One strategy that helps you build stronger boundaries is one proposed by the British economist Tim Harford, and he says, one trick is to ask yourself, if I had to do it today, would I agree to it? So often I think that I will probably want to do this task or get this dinner or hang out with this friend 2 weeks from now, a month from now, but honestly, if I don't want to do it today, I probably won't even want to do it next month. And that's just the reality of things, and that's just being honest with yourself. I think that a lot of us, including myself, are afraid to say no or are afraid to set bigger and stronger boundaries because we're afraid of, offending people, of them getting upset. But the truth is, the only people that get upset about you building boundaries are those that benefited from you not having any. Also, if someone takes setting a boundary with you personally, this is an even bigger sign to set an even stronger boundary because people who love you and respect you will understand your needs and your desires and will want to respect them. Number 2, practicing self-compassion. Words have weight. Words create your reality. Many of us, if not all of us, are our own biggest critics. I think it's interesting because many of us think that we operate or perform best when treating ourselves with such unkindness or harshness, telling ourselves, you're a loser, you're worthless, you are stupid, you can't get it together. But the reality of it is that this hasn't been working for many of us, if not all of us. Practicing self-compassion means talking to ourselves in a gentle, non-judgmental way. It's about talking to ourselves almost the way we would a best friend. In this book that I recently read called The Art and Power of Acceptance, it says Your Guide to Inner Peace by a licensed psychotherapist. I actually want to do a whole video on this, but she proposes a strategy called ACT for practicing self-compassion, and it's something that I've been truly benefiting and implementing into my life, and it's really simple. simple. So A starts for acknowledge, and this is simply just acknowledging your feelings. So you're just gonna say, you're feeling X, because a lot of the times we don't even know what we're feeling, and it's really important to acknowledge them. So then you do C. C is connect with humanity. A lot of our problems and a lot of our despair and hopelessness kind of stems from the idea that we're experiencing this alone. But the truth is, so many people are going through what we're going through as well. And then lastly, it is T, talk kindly to yourself. So for example, let's talk about me feeling bad about eating some really unhealthy food after the holidays. I would say, Amy, you're feeling really guilty and shameful right now. That's A, acknowledge. Then we would do C, connect with humanity. You and a bunch of other people during the holidays do this, and a lot of people allow themselves to have fun and eat whatever they want after the holidays. Then T is don't worry, you're going to get back on track next week or even tomorrow, and it's not that big of a deal. You have every right to indulge and have fun, and don't worry, like everybody else can relate to this. So it's essentially just always following this model, and honestly, it will feel really awkward and uncomfortable at first to talk so kindly to yourself, but honestly, I genuinely feel a lot better after I do these things. So I want to do a whole video on this, but just remember ACT, and I could give you another example of Jamie, you're feeling sad because your mom said something mean to you. C, connect with humanity. Don't worry, I'm sure that there are so many people out there who are experiencing the same mom-daughter issues, and you're not alone in this. C is the most important, to acknowledge that you're not alone in this. And then T, talk kindly. Don't worry, you've been through so much more in the past. You're gonna get through this. You thought you couldn't get through your heartbreak, but you're gonna get through this one time where you feel sad. So it's just being really kind to yourself, and she even offers to give yourself a nice hug or pat on your back after that. And it's gonna feel weird at first, but trust me, it really does help. And I think that it's something that I really need to focus on, because before I would say, you're worthless for eating so much, and that's just, I don't know, that's not how my best friend would talk to me. It truly might feel a little weird and awkward to talk so kindly to yourself because you're not used to it, but neurons that fire together wire together, meaning that if you just consistently do this, the habit will be ingrained in your mind and eventually will feel authentic. Kind of like when you smile, even if you don't mean it, you start to actually feel more joyful. Number 3, honoring your feelings. This is something that I've really had to learn throughout the years, because I would often say, I'm too busy to be sad, I don't feel sad, or I would just internalize everything, saying, oh, I know that this person is going through a lot, that they're having a bad day, which all very could be true, and so that's why they speak so unkindly to me. But something that I'm truly learning to realize is that just because you understand and can empathize with someone and their trauma and their background doesn't mean that you have to allow and accept their behavior to you. And a lot of times we don't even know how to process this because we're not even processing our own feelings. Again, this is one of my favorite sayings that a spiritual thought leader on YouTube says, get real about how you feel so that you can heal. Candice Vandell. I think that so many of us escape from our feelings, that we dive ourselves into work or displace it with a new person, a new boyfriend, a new partner, a new friend, and we're just constantly running away from our feelings. But we have to face it head on, and we have to honor how we're feeling. It's not saying I'm overly sensitive, I'm overly this. It's just owning up to it and owning that you have feelings and you're human, and that's okay. Another thing with honoring your feelings is also speaking up about how you feel to others. I think that for me, I internalize a lot of my feelings because I understand that a lot of people are going through things and that they might not mean what they say to me, but at the end of the day, it's still not something that I should allow, because you either say something and potentially mess up the relationship, or you either say nothing and potentially mess up your entire insides. It's not yours to carry the way that you feel or the hurt or the pain. It's for you to release and talk about it. Honoring your feelings has to do with saying how your feelings have been hurt openly, honestly, and kindly, because people are going to respond to you more when you're coming from a place of vulnerability rather than anger or resentment. This is honoring your feelings in the best way possible, confrontable, because truly a safe person is confrontable, and you should be confrontable as well. Like, you should be a safe person to tell. It's not about being defensive. It's not about retorting back with another time that someone hurt you. It's honestly just being really, really vulnerable and saying, this hurt my feelings. I think that so many of us in kind of like alert mode respond with another nasty remark or with some other type of sassiness, and that's not real honoring your feelings. It's actually being quite disingenuous with how you feel, because hurt people just hurt other people. So remember to honor your feelings by talking openly and honestly and very kindly and gently about them, because at the end of the day, it's not about having someone hurt you in return for how much you hurt them. It's about just like acknowledging that I'm feeling bad about what someone said to me. Honoring your feelings is really important, because you can go to the gym, you can take your vitamins, you can meditate, you can journal, but if you don't handle what's going on in your head and in your heart, you're still going to be unhealthy. Number 4, doing less. Currently, we live in a do-it-all culture where the more you check off on a to-do list, the more valuable you are as a person, which seems a little off to me, and where we also glamorize overexhaustion, being burnt out. But the truth of the matter is, when you do less, you can accomplish more. When you do less, we focus and prioritize on what actually matters. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not how fast we can get there. It's how long we can last. Life is about longevity. It's about sustainability. And the more that we focus on doing a bunch of things, the less we actually accomplish in that amount of time. We often think that by doing more, we find ourselves to be more productive, but being busy does not equal being productive. You only need to accomplish 5 things or less in a day, because it's not about how much you can do, it's the quality and the investment on how you do things that matters more. For a long time, I was very focused on creating a video each and every week on Mondays, and I'm still focused on that, but I'm less harsh on myself and less unkind to myself when I don't meet that deadline, because sometimes I do need to take a break, and I remind myself that it's about a journey, it's about a marathon, it's not about a sprint. I don't want to have to consistently make videos every week and not be able to do it for the rest of my life, or not be able to show up for the next 20 decades. Whoa, that was really long. More like 20 years is what I'm trying to say. I also think with do-it-all culture, it insinuates that you have to add more activities into your life to be productive, but sometimes instead of doing more budgeting, it's about just spending less money. It's about spending less time on consumption. It's not working out more. It's just eating less unhealthy foods. It's not about having to rest more. It can essentially just be doing less work, doing less things that make you tired. Number 5, logging off and unfollowing people off social media. In a world full of choices, I choose me. Social media has been awesome because it's created such a huge sense of community online, and no doubt has saved so many people's lives, has saved my own life in finding my own community on the internet. But at the same time, there are so many negative effects and cons to the internet, and I will be the first to admit that I've spent way too much time scrolling on my phone and just looking at pictures and feeling like I need to compare myself, and comparison breeds discontent. We often forget that social media is just a fabricated highlight reel. It's someone's best moments, and even at that may be disingenuous or inauthentic. It might be them at Disneyland or Coachella, but it might even be a really contrived moment, a fake kiss, a fake laugh. It's not even something that could be real, even as a highlight moment. The phone used to be a break from real life, but now real life is a break from the phone. And I won't go into how many statistics there are on how social media is linked with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. It's something you've already heard, but I think that a lot of us live in this victimhood mentality, or this disempowerment that says that we don't have any power about what's going on social media, but when in fact we totally do. You can, as soon as you feel bad about scrolling too much, about watching another video, about liking another Instagram post, you have the ability and the free will to log off, to delete the app, to get out of that space. Your digital space is still your space, and just like a home, you can uninvite and invite as many people as you see fit. It's about curating your own space on the internet. If there's content or if there's someone you don't like, unfollow them. There's no reason and no need to have to keep following people or have your feed clogged up. Every time I see an ad, I tell Instagram it's not relevant, it's not relevant. My feed has no ads because I refuse to be programmed program by advertising. And even if you don't feel like that's necessary, unfollowing someone, you can mute them, you can get off your phone, you can go out, take a walk, get some fresh air. The world will move on without you, without having to see what everyone else is up to. More importantly, your value is not dependent on your likes, the quality of your photos, your retweets, your reblogs. Your value is based on your integrity, your character, and your actions and how you show up in this world. And social media is just one factor to that. So log off, unfollow people, and remember, you have the power to shut that off. If it's making you unhappy, you have every right to put your phone down and just go breathe. Alright, those are my 5 free self-care habits, or self-care habits that cost you nothing. Please don't ever think that you have to purchase something to start taking care of yourself, because self-care starts with you, starts right now. And please share this video with anyone you think it might help out. It would really, really mean a lot to me, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!